Welcome, everyone, to the Sports Writers. We have Phil Stacy, Matt Williams, Nick Giannino from the Salem News, Nick Kukaru from the Gloucester Times. I'm Bill Newell from MSO News Sports, and we will get to football. We usually are very heavy on football, and right out of the gate, we go to football. But let's go to field hockey because we're pretty well represented on the North Shore with a variety of different field hockey teams in the tournament. And Nick Kukaru, let's go to you. Manchester Essex still alive in D4, as well as Ipswich.
Yeah, so we were hoping for the two local teams to play each other in the state final, and that looks like it's the only shot we got left right now, and it's looking pretty likely, to be honest. They're both back in action Tuesday night, and they're kind of on a crash course to meet in that state final. I know Manchester has Uxbridge. I wish I could tell you I knew anything about them, and Ipswich has Monmoy, top seed. So I know nothing about. I never covered a game between Uxbridge or Monmoy, so I couldn't tell you anything about them. But I'm sure they're good. They're in the fourth, fifth round of the tournament.
I heard that Monmoy, which is down the Cape, supposedly they have a girl who scored like 48 or 49 goals, but I'm not sure if she's injured or not. So again, I wouldn't take that to the bank, but just something I heard.
Well, it looks like scoring a lot of goals, just going through the playoffs there, 7-1, 4-1, 3-0.
Yeah. And, Nick, you and I talked about it. I mean, when Ipswich beat Manchester for the Cape Ann League Baker title about, 3 weeks ago, I want to say, maybe 2.5 weeks ago, that it was a very real possibility they'd see each other at some point in the tournament. I think both coaches said, all right, we'll see you in the finals, kind of like joking, and it could very well come to pass. As you said, if both teams can win out Tuesday night, which would be kind of neat. Has Manchester ever been to the final? I know Ipswich hasn't.
No, I mean, so they've usually been in Watertown's division, and Watertown beat them, right. I want to say 8 or 9 times in the Division II North finals. So Manchester Essex field hockey is one of the most, dominant programs in the area, and they don't even have a sectional title to show for it because of Watertown. Now they got Watertown out of the way. They can make a run at things. And, I think maybe the most remarkable thing about this Manchester Essex team this year is that they don't even have a senior. They have all juniors, sophomores, freshmen. And so, I mean, they're already dangerous, getting to the state semifinals with no senior leadership. They're going to be the team to beat next year for sure. But I mean, the present could be theirs as well. They have just as good a shot as anyone left, I think. Probably have to give Ipswich the edge in a third match since they've beaten them twice. I know both of those were good games, but does seem like Ipswich has their number so far this season.
And what's interesting is here, Manchester Essex has to play that game, albeit a neutral site, at Watertown.
Yeah.
That was not lost on them too. That fact was not lost. And they finally get away from Watertown. Now they have to, go to Watertown to get to the round that's been, eluding them for so long.
Back to the scene of the crime.
I can't profess to know what the mileage is between Watertown and Norwell, but I'm guessing if Ipswich is to win their game Tuesday at 5, someone would want to get up to Watertown and catch at least maybe part of that Manchester Essex Uxbridge game. Hey, it'd be a great thing for the Cape Ann League to have certainly both teams represented, but even one of those two teams to make it to a final would be a great thing.
And it's great. This is one example of the state playoff system. You get down to the Final Four where you have teams who would normally be in the North bracket, meeting for a championship, which wouldn't normally have been possible.
You got all top 4 seeds advancing there.
Right. I was going to say what you want about the power seedings, but you got the top 4 teams there. So somebody did something right there.
Yeah. I know in field hockey in D3, we've got Swampscott and Pentucket still alive. And in 2, Masco still alive? What?
St. John's.
Yeah.
Pentucket's still alive, right?
Yeah.
So I actually haven't seen Swampscott in the playoffs. Scott Cooper has been doing that for us. But they're playing very, very well. They went up to Triton on Saturday and knocked them off, higher seeded team, to reach the Final Four. Sydney Marshall's had a terrific postseason for for Swampscott. I want to say she's got like 3 goals and 2 assists in the last 2 games alone. Olivia Barron has played well all season. Brooke Waters, Chloe Rakusis in net. They're just getting a lot of great contributions from all over the place. And I know you get Division II up there now. Whoop.
Well, I'm
Right.
sorry. I'm trying to change it here. I'm sorry.
No, that's all right.
Yeah.
There we
Again.
go. There's Watertown.
There's Watertown taking on your Sachems, Nick.
That's
Yeah.
it. Good luck,
Guessing that
Satan.
might be for whom the bell tolls, and that
Hey.
instance, But Swampscott will be an underdog again, going against top-ranked Sandwich, but they did crash into that 5 versus a 4 win. So great win for them, and we hope they can keep it going on Wednesday. And they got a late one down in Norwell, 7:00. But boy, what a great story they've been this season. And I think it goes to show you the strength of the Northeastern Conference too. You have Masconomet, the league champion, still playing. Danvers went deep into the tournament, double overtime loss in the quarterfinals. Swampscott is right there in the Final Four Division III. So great year for the conference. And of course, there's Masconomet right there, top seed. I was at the last game against Longmeadow. Boy, that was a great game. I think both teams had 1 shot by halftime. Masconomet opened things up a little bit in the 3rd quarter with a lot more shots, a lot more corners, but it took a scramble out front for a defenseman to come up, Allie Baker, knock in that goal to advance Masconomet to the Final Four. So they've got in the Neshoba team that beat Holliston pretty good in the quarterfinals. Be another great test for them Wednesday night in Burlington. And then you see on the other side of the bracket, the 2-3 game, Falmouth and Westwood. If Masconomet were to win, another certainly tough test in the finals waiting for them. But not to get too far ahead, they got to take care of business with Neshoba. And this is the 2nd time in 4 years they've reached this far, state semifinals. They beat Andover in the North Finals in 2018 before losing in the state semi. So they hope to take it 1 step further this time and reach the finals for the first time.
I'm trying to pull up one other thing, guys, here. If you, I'm going to jump to volleyball, if we can pull this off here. We have, let me see here. Ipswich Linfield possibly on a collision course. If I can get up there. Here we go. I'm sorry. This probably isn't going to be it here. Let's see what I got here. Yeah, I got it right here. There we go. So your Final Four, Ipswich taking on the Advanced Math and Science Institute, whatever, and Linfield versus Medway. And possibly you could have another Cape Ann League state final right there in the making there. It's possible. This volleyball. Ipswich, Linfield, 1-2.
I mean, they haven't even had any close ones.
Ipswich, no, they've been breezing through.
They've been rolling everyone. I think they swept everyone so far, to be honest. I don't know if you can go through but I mean, they've been just dominating.
Well, at least we know if it's Ipswich versus Linfield, the game will be close by. So that's good.
Yeah, they have seemed to located the games in reasonable spots, it seems, which at least the ones I've seen, some of the matchups I've been looking at. So,
Well, just where it's two locals, right? They wouldn't make them. They've been good about teams that are near each other. They play near each other. They don't make them go to Timbuktu, which is nice.
So if we
I
go
have to say, I don't even know where Advanced Math and Science is located. I'm guessing Boston, but I don't know that.
It's Worcester area.
Good question.
So I covered them in the spring. They beat Manchester Essex girls tennis, who is probably the best Division III girls tennis program in the state. They beat them in the state finals, and I thought the same thing about them. Like, who are these? Who's this team? They're going to get killed, and they were pretty nasty actually. So I think
Where were they from? Did you say?
Out of the Worcester area. They're a charter school.
Oh, okay.
They were
Marlboro,
awesome,
it says, yeah.
which was an absolute shock to me. But they were legit in that sport. So I don't know if volleyball's the same, but I know I was expecting a blowout win for Manchester Essex girls tennis, undefeated in the state finals, and they lost 4-1. So
yeah, I mean, and they beat Hamilton Wenham, who had a good team this year. So I mean, they're no joke.
You do got to hand it to Ipswich, though. I mean, they made the North Finals in 2017 and 18. They made the state semifinals in 2019, and so just continuing their upward trajectory here. I mean, this is not the team that is any stranger to late postseason success, right? I mean, the new format, they just keep rolling.
And they're doing it under a new head coach. I mean,
I was going to say,
Stacey-
yeah, this is only what Stacy's second year, right? Stacy Sonke's second
Yeah.
year there.
Her
Yeah,
first
she was-
tournament. So she's undefeated, untied, and unscored upon in the tournament,
it.
right? If they lost a set in the tournament,
I don't think so.
No, I don't
Yeah.
think so.
that's pretty impressive, I guess.
I'm trying to pull up, let's go to girls soccer here very quickly because the team you have left is Hamilton Wenham. Does that sound about right with you guys?
That's
Yeah.
right. Yeah,
Yeah, Division
Division
4.
4.
Yeah,
Yeah.
And there they are right there in the final four on the right-hand side of the bracket
There they
versus
are on
Bridgewater.
the screen.
What's that?
There they are on the screen.
Uh,
No, I mean, the Gens are rolling. I mean, look at all those goals they've scored. They haven't allowed one yet, but they've scored 15, which, for a team that typically has very low scoring games over the season, the years, Nancy Waddell is a great defensive coach. I think if you look at her postseason history, both at Ipswich and Hamilton Wenham, she's taken teams to the North Finals before. She's had a lot of penalty kick games, a lot of 1-0, 1-1 low scoring games. So, that her teams are going to have the defensive side buttoned down. And for them to be scoring goals at this rate, that kind of, I don't want to say easy because it's never easy, right? But that kind of makes things easy for them. Jane McGuire was just voted Division 4 State Player of the Year by the State Coaches Association. A great honor for her. She's a tremendous midfielder. And her running mate, Claire Nistel, by the time this is over with, they're both going to have 20 goals. I don't think Hamilton Wenham has ever had two 20-goal scorers on the same team. And I'm not sure if they've ever had one 20-goal scorer. We've been trying to go through some yearbooks and figure out what their single season goal scoring record is. And we haven't been able to find a 20-goal scorer yet. So really, really impressive by them. We'll see what this West Bridgewater team has. The only thing I know about them is they dropped 6 goals on Amesbury in the second round. So Amesbury is a decent team. Hamilton Wenham did beat them twice, but you score 6 goals on a team like that. That means you've got some firepower. So we expect a good game, but I've kind of been on the Hamilton Wenham train for quite some time. They look like the team to beat. This is a team that went. They've only lost 2 games in the last 2 years. They won the Cape Ann League outright last year in the pandemic season and brought everybody back. And now they're on a 16-game win streak, unbeaten streak and rolling here. So they're a really good soccer team. They could really do some things up top with those 2 that I talked about. Just a really, really good team. And like I says, with their philosophy in the back, they're not going to give up much. So a total complete team, maybe as complete a team as Hamilton Wenham's had in my time. They did go to the state finals and lose in 2005, but that was before my time.
I say we go to football. What do you think here? So we jump
We
to
want football, but
football, right? So St. John's Prep still alive, taking on Central Catholic. We'll get to that one here. We'll pop all that up here. I think I got this here. Hopefully there we go. Division 1. Very quickly, guys. I guess no real big surprises for the Prep as they advance through these playoffs here, but Central Catholic, they'll be taking them on this weekend.
Surprising only in the sense that I don't think they had played particularly well down the home stretch of the regular season, Bill. They lost 2 out of 3. And the one game they did win, they scored a lot of points at BC High, but they gave up, they were down 14-0 to a team that hadn't won a game yet. And they gave up 20-something points that game. So they hadn't been playing great defensively, certainly. They've played better in the postseason, as you can see, shut out Shrewsbury and put up, a 57 burger against Wachusett while giving up 20, which, that's fine. But I think Central's a whole other animal now. As we recalled a month and a half, 2 months ago, week 2 of the regular season, Central was coming off of that game where the quarterback, I want to say his name's Aiden Pereira, It accounted for, was it 10 touchdowns? He scored 7 himself, or he threw 7, he ran for 3 or something. And everyone was anointing him, the next coming. And, the Prep whacked him. I think they won, was it what, Willie, 49-14, if I want to remember that right, or 48-14, something like that.
Something like that, yeah. They were definitely in the 40s.
And to me, that was the best St. John's Prep has played all season. You certainly don't want to peak in week 2. And I don't think they've played their best ball yet. But based on, the team that was coming in, and Prep had given up, I think, 41 points on opening night. So they really tightened up that game. They're going to have to do it again. Neutral field, obviously, on Friday night. But, it's a road game, essentially, for the Eagles. And, we know they're probably not going to have James Guy. He tried to play last week. 1 carry came out. So they're going to have to ride Carson Brown out of the backfield. James Perry, Perry, the quarterback, has just set the new, say again? What's that? Nick,
I don't think anyone said anything.
Oh,
I don't think anyone was saying anything. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Voices in my head, I guess.
We were just listening. We were just listening to you, Phil, carefully, hanging on every word.
Perry just broke the prep school record for touchdown passes in a season with 30. So he'll be looking for his wideouts, Jesse O'Fury and Stephen Patrick and Jackson Delaney. I would expect that it would be a high scoring game. The Eagles are just going to have their defense make a few more stops than Central's does.
Yeah, they got 436 points on the season now, which, I'm not up on my North Shore records here. I know that I was just looking up some Swampscott stuff. That 2002 Swampscott team that had the North Shore record for points for 100 years was 456. Now, I can't remember off the top of my head if anybody has broken that in the last couple of years with this offensive explosion. But, you got to imagine that with potentially 3 more games, the Prep is going to do that and maybe could get to 500, which is really just a ridiculous offense. And for Perry, granted, he's got 3 obscene wide receivers, but for a guy that was kind of a question mark coming into the season to direct an offense like that and break some of those records, that is remarkable. And I think that Phil's right. I don't mean to cast aspersions at the Prep defense, but I don't expect them to hold Central to 14 again. So this could be a very high scoring game. I would figure, the over under's got to be 75 at least, right? And even in the cold in November, you might want to take the over.
Gentlemen, let's jump to Division 3, where Marblehead is still there, playing Westfield at Shrewsbury. So they're the lone North Shore team left in D3. I don't know who wants to pick up on the Magicians.
I saw them this past week. I've seen them quite a bit this year. They're, I think against Masco, the scary thing is they didn't play their best game. They were up 21-0 at the half and were shut out in the second half. Masco really brought the defense and brought the blitz in the second half and gave the Magicians some trouble there. So they still got some kinks to work out. I think they're more than capable of fixing it and putting together, a full game. It was kind of one of those things where talent went out in that one, I think. Masco was a little banged up. Like I said, they really brought a great defensive effort in that second half, but Marblehead was just too much. They did, made a few more plays than the Chieftains did and got out to that early lead. So I think, Rudloff was not super happy, Coach Rudloff, with the win. I know they won by 2 scores there, but like I said, that second half left some things to be desired there. So, they got their work cut out for them. They're going against a Westfield team that, quite frankly, none of us know much about, including Jim Rudloff, who said after the game he's probably going to have to Google them. I think that was, partially a joke, but, not much known about Westfield, who's way out there. We don't see them play at all. And obviously they're having a good season. They made it to the Final Four for a reason. So, again, Marblehead's going to have their work cut out for them. I think they're pretty healthy. They did lose. Was it Duty? No, I'm sorry. No, I'm thinking of something else. No, Marblehead's healthy for the most part. So They got the weapons, they got the defense. If they can come and bring it for 4 quarters, I think they got to be the favorite. Obviously, the top seed and still unbeaten, so they got a good chance to advance there.
What's interesting, you look at their first win, Westfields. It was a one point win over Fitchburg, the 12 seed.
Yeah.
Then they being the 5 beat the number 4 Plymouth South team. So maybe a little parity there, but we'll see how this all plays out.
Looking at the other side of this bracket here, I mean, you got North Attleboro that's put up 110 points in 2 games.
Yeah.
And you know that Bill Ricker has long been a powerhouse. I mean, they blow out West Springfield and they win a 1 point over Hanover. So that'll be an interesting second semifinal. But I feel like we've talked about this a lot on the podcast this year. I mean, for as talented as Marblehead is, and you can't sneeze at an unbeaten record, the top seed, they win every game, obviously. They still, to me, have not put together a complete game yet. And that's crazy to say. They're 9-0, they're 1 game away from a Super Bowl, but they just haven't. Well, I feel like when I see them, they have the capability to win games 42-7. And it's just something's missing there. I don't know if it's just they're not totally clicking on offense or what it is, or maybe there's some injuries we don't know about. I mean, everybody's dinged up this time of year, you would imagine, but I think at some point they're going to have to win games with that offense, with that prolific offense that they have. They haven't had to yet. The defense has been carrying the day, but at some point, whether it's this weekend or in the Super Bowl, even on Thanksgiving against Swampscott, and we could be looking at a 11-0 versus a 10-0 on Thanksgiving, which would be amazing. I think at some point that offense is going to have to either step up and play the way that we feel they're capable of, or they could be in trouble.
Yeah,
I think sometimes the penalties have been killing them too. If they can clean up the penalties, because they'll move the ball and then they'll get a call back on a hold, or they'll get a false start and it'll kind of slow their momentum. So, yeah, if they can clean that up, it's going to change a lot for them offensively.
I do agree with that. Nick's right. They do tend to take some untimely penalties at times, but I will say, I mean, they dominated North Andover. They pretty well dominated Peabody, and they dominated Danvers. I mean, those are 2.5 playoff teams right there. So, Beverly, they kind of only had 1 dominant half, and then Masco, same deal there. So I think I'm a little worried about them physically, just because, Swampscott, I think, is going to attack them, whether they win or lose this week. And, they just played a really tough Masco team. And then, if this Westfield team is tough, Phil is exactly right. The teams on the other side of the bracket are very tough. So they're kind of looking at the potential of 3 really beat 'em up games in like 15 or 16 days. And I'm guessing that's why they took the bye week. Most teams have played an extra game than them to this point. They took the bye week, and I think that might end up looking pretty wise if they can make it through this stretch, because, there's going to be a lot of ice baths there. I know Masco lost, and you got to hand it to the Chieftains. I mean, that's a good 7-3 season that most of us didn't see coming, and some interesting numbers. I mean, since they joined the NEC, they're 0-4 against Marblehead and 9-3 against everybody else. So I'm guessing that the Masco faithful will be glad to see all these Marblehead players graduate this year. They'll be driving them to college to make sure they can't, ruin any more football seasons up there in Boxford.
I mean, this year alone, they lost to Marblehead twice, and that was 2 out of their 3 wins. I mean, 2 losses, 3 losses.
Yeah.
Season, yeah.
Yeah. So.
And the other one was Swampscott. So if Swampscott beats Fenwick and Marblehead beats Westfield, then Masco will be sitting here 7-3 with all 3 losses to Super Bowl teams. I mean, that's nothing to be ashamed of up there. And realistically, they could have won probably 2 of those games anyway.
I think too, we should wrap up speaking about Marblehead with just saying that the caveat being, we're still talking about an undefeated top seeded team here. We're not picking at Marblehead if that's the perception here at all. It's just that I don't think any one of us feel as though like, oh yeah, they're a breeze to get to Gillette, or, they're certainly going to win the Super Bowl. That'd be fantastic if they did. I just think that, and the coaches would be the first one to tell you this over there, there are still things that need cleaning up, whether it's the penalties, whether it's, being able to convert more 3rd and longs, whether it's, taking more time off the clock and finishing off drives or converting field goal attempts, anything like that. There are still things that they need to work on. And as Willie said, to be cognizant of the physicality factor as they get into late November here against these big, strong teams.
We may not be beating up on Marblehead, Phil, but I'm thinking that Coach Rudloff will let his players listen to this podcast this week. You know what I'm saying?
This week and every week, Bill.
He probably bans it when we say nice things about them. So
yeah,
he's definitely one of those guys that's happiest when he has the bulletin board materials. So
Yeah,
we are certainly willing to oblige.
he bleeped out Phil's last comment probably on the locker room play of this feature here. Hey, so as you know, we put up Division 5 here a few minutes ago, but there it is, Swampscott and Fenwick playing at Manning Field on Friday night, and in the D5 semifinal, the other semifinal, North Reading, Pentucket, and that's the 5 o'clock game at Manning Field. So you got a great kind of North Shore matchup at a fantastic venue, meaning Manning Field. And gentlemen, I know we've talked about Swampscott a little bit, but in our final few minutes, we got to touch on this matchup, these matchups here, I guess.
Well, I'd say if the Super Bowl isn't at, if they could play at Gillette, I think any one of these teams would say, sure, let's play it at Manning. That's fine, be a nice, easy ride for any one of these 4 teams here. But I think Swampscott Fenwick might be the most highly anticipated game of the season so far. This should be a great one. I think for Fenwick, it's been an unexpectedly good season. I think they thought they'd be decent. I don't think they'd reach the state semifinals level of good. And I really don't think it's any secret. I mean, the return of Jason Romans, from of all things starting the season on the golf team, has been the biggest boon to Bishop Fenwick. I mean, he's such a huge difference maker on the outside, defensively as well. He catches everything that comes his way. He's fast, he's athletic, he's elusive. He's got that football intelligence you need. Coach Dave Wood's son, Stephen Woods, a quarterback, is a really smart player, doesn't make mental mistakes, doesn't hurt his team in any way with poor throws or bad judgment. Costa Beechin, Chris Faraka, 2 other really strong wideouts. Troy Irizarry, nice player out of the Fenwick backfield. You got Luke Connolly, a ton of promise as a sophomore, had a nice 35-yard touchdown run the other day. But they're also well aware, and I'll let someone else talk about Swampscott here, but I think they're very well aware that Swampscott is the best team they faced all season. And, Matt Williams and I were talking earlier today, and we both agreed. I think one thing that Swampscott has that Fenwick I don't see as much in, I think Swampscott has a real edge to them, and an edge that really can help come playoff time. I don't know if you want to call it a meanness, but an edge in the way that they play, which is you're not taking what we want kind of thing. Fenwick's going to have to find a way to rise up and meet that challenge for them to be successful Friday night.
Yeah, I do think, Phil nailed it. I think that with due respect to Bishop Feehan, I think Swampscott is the best team that Fenwick has played. And I think when I look at Masco, Beverly, and Peabody, I'm not sure that Bishop Fenwick is necessarily the best team that Swampscott has played. Now, those teams aren't as far in the playoffs and, yada, yada, yada. I don't know who would win if Fenwick played those teams, but I just think when you're Swampscott, a Division 5 team, and you run that gauntlet of those 3 teams that have a combined, 18 or 20 wins or whatever it is, that's pretty impressive. This is the first time since 2003 that Swampscott has been 10-0 or 11-0, whatever they are. And, I'm just looking at some of these records for Xavier Baskin. I mean, he's closing in on the single season rushing record, which was that 2003 season. Alex Stone, the last time they were 12-0 and lost that Super Bowl. I don't remember which one that was. I think it was Marshfield or Mansfield, somebody like that. And he's got 132 points now, which is not far off. The school record is Dick Geron, 161. And I think anytime you're closing in on a record that's held by Dick Geron, I mean, that's a pretty serious thing. Like that's not breaking Johnny Foxborough's record. I mean, if you're getting ready to break a Dick Geron record potentially, that's what some would call the real deal.
Absolutely. Again, that doubleheader at Manning Field on Friday night. One just quick note here. talking about other Lynn teams. The St. Mary's Spartans will be playing in Quincy on Friday against Abington in the D6. There's the bracket right there. Gentlemen, we have just a couple of minutes left, and we've gone through soccer, field hockey, volleyball, and of course football now. So maybe you guys each want to take 30 seconds or 45 seconds, whatever, to put a wrap on a couple of things, anything else other than football or the playoffs, anything else to share with us?
I do. I want to talk about Pingree football, if you got a minute here. Wow, what a great game I saw the other night. They win it with 8 seconds left. Their arch rivals, Dexter Southfield, both teams 7-0 coming in. It was an 85-minute lightning delay, rain, the temperature dropped about 15 degrees. It was a, cool night over there. 7-3 going into the fourth quarter. Dexter with a long drive. They score with a minute and a half left. Pingree comes back downfield. They reach the 19. They get 2 illegal motion penalties, push them back. I should say offside penalties, push them back. So they're on the 29. And sophomore quarterback Hudson Weidman throws a corner fade to another sophomore, Chris Colby, makes this great catch one-on-one with 8 seconds left, and Pingree wins the game. Great team over there. Mike Flynn and his staff do a terrific job. They're going to be hosting a New England Prep School Bowl this Saturday at 1 o'clock against the Canterbury School. Pingree's 8-0. Canterbury is 7-1. Hey, this is 3 bowls in 3 years for Mike Flynn and his crew over there. So Pingree's a really good take, and there's a lot of talent over there. Really good football team. So really hoping that the Highlanders can finish off an undefeated season with a win this Saturday in the bowl game.
I just want to shout out the 2 boys soccer teams that we had bow out in the quarterfinals, both in Division 1 and 2 this past weekend. St. John's Prep in Division 1, they gave it all they had against a Brookline team and took them to double overtime before Brookline scored on somewhat of a fluke goal to win it. So great season for the Prep. Head coach Dave Kroll said they overachieved, and I couldn't agree more with that. I think they started kind of slow and kind of, turned things up a notch down the stretch and put on a nice run. So good for them. And then Masco finally lost. They were 20-0. They went to the Division 2 quarterfinals against Longmeadow and ended up come up short 3-1. Sam Brockman had the 1 goal on a penalty kick in the second half. I think they just fell behind early in that one and were chasing kind of the whole game, which is always tough. But fantastic season for Masco once again, obviously going unbeaten all the way until the quarterfinals. So shout out to them. And then just quickly, guys, Endicott football's got a home game in the playoffs this weekend, which is pretty cool for them. That place is going to be bumping.
RPI. Yep. I was just going to mention that. So less than a minute to go, guys. Oh, Nick Kukuru, anything that you want to share with us?
No, the rest of my teams are long gone. So field hockey's been carrying the torch for the last week.
Yeah.
I will throw in there, Bill, for all you hoop heads out there, Gordon College's Eric Demers is playing for the Maine Celtics right now, the G League team. He got in the other night. I think he played 9 minutes. So keep an eye out on him. Obviously, they're the G League team for the Celtics. And, he's trying to make a push at the NBA, and this is another step towards that. So good for him.
Very cool.
And on a final,
Pingree girls soccer at home in the Knapsack too. They're at home on Wednesday, so keep an eye on them. Another New England tournament for them. And Ariana Bazanson from Danvers just voted an All-American, 2-time All-American. That's rare air right there. So 2-time All-American for her, and her town mate from Bishop Fenwick, Claudia Keith, voted All New England too. So another great season on the pitch for those two.
And on a final note, let you know that we're considering renaming this podcast Nick and Friends, to, maybe to compete against Nick and Nick on Saturday mornings on the radio with Nick Kukuru and Dominic Nicastro. But we're just thinking of it. I mean, we'll see what happens. The more the merrier. What's that, Nick?
I was thinking Philly, Willie, and Billy.
Philly, Willie, and Billy.
That sounds good.
Maybe there's a way we can get the initials to spell out NFT, like those things they're selling online now.
All right. Our time is up. I got to stop. But gentlemen, always good talking.